Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2287. Today on Cars Yeah, well, we're celebrating the La Jolla Concours de Elegance. It takes place April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in my hometown, beautiful La Jolla, California, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. You can learn more about attending their event at lajollaconcours.com, and I'll be there. I hope to see you there. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in beautiful Fountain Hills, Arizona, with a very special returning guest here on Cars Yeah, and my good friend Bob Kerner. Bob, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I am, Mark. Let's pop the clutch, burn some rubber, and spin some Brodies.
Well, there you go. You know how to have fun. Now, you're over there in Arizona now. I know you were a fellow SoCal guy, but you've moved out to the desert. Beautiful Fountain Hills. They've got a little event over there that was quite spectacular this year. Little event, I say that as a joke because it's massive, massive event. Well, I got to ask, though, how's life in the desert?
Life in the desert is exceeded my expectations. You know, the weather is tremendous year round. There's a little bit of time in the summer. I would call it 2.5 months where you got to have a strategy for dealing with the heat, and many people bounce out. But honestly, the weather is heavenly for about 9.5 months. So I've loved it, and the car culture over here is tremendous, and it's been a great move for my wife and I. And my son was already here at ASU. He just graduated, so it's great to have the fam back together.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, I have a graduate in the house. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Very cool. Well, today we're going to be heading out west and talking about one of my favorite Concours events because it's in my hometown where I grew up, the La Jolla Concours de Elegance. You're a big part of that. But before we start our talk and I give you a little bit of an introduction, what's one little thing that maybe people don't know about Bob Kerner?
Oh, that's a fun question. I am a certified barbecue judge with the Kansas City Barbecue Society.
Whoa.
And so what that means is I'm not an expert barbecuer, and I get to be a judge because I am. I've gone through a class and I've learned process. And essentially what a judge does at any sanctioned event by KCBS is they evaluate the appearance, the taste, and the texture of the 4 meats that were presented by the competitor. And you rate it on a score of 1 to 5, 5 being best, and then and you take one bite of each because it's a very filling day, believe me.
I was going to say there's some benefits to this role. However, by the end of the day, they need a wheelbarrow to take you out of there.
Pretty much.
Wow, that sounds like fun. Very cool. Well, nothing like good barbecue, and it can be so different depending on what parts of the world you're in. When I was in India over Christmas and New Year's, I actually had some lamb barbecue because you can't really find beef in India because of the religion, the Hindu religion, and their opinion about cows being sacred and so forth. And I did see a few walking around the streets. That was quite interesting. I had to dodge a cow with a car. I had some really delicious barbecue lamb over there, and I'm not really much of a lamb eater, but this is good.
Oh yeah, lamb is next level, I always say.
There you go. Very cool. Well, let me give you a proper introduction, and we'll talk about this year's La Jolla Concours. Bob Kerner is the co-chairman of the La Jolla Concours de Elegance and chair of Concours Car Selection Committee. He's the senior vice president of Risk Strategies Insurance Brokers. His career as an insurance risk manager to ultra high net worth families spans over 25 years. Bob's work includes family offices, luxury homes and estates, museum, fine art collections, and other collectibles, umbrella liability, yachts, private aircraft, life insurance, daily driver autos, and of course, collector automobiles. His passion for the collector car hobby and the La Jolla Concours dates back to 2013. He's also a docent at the Pebble Beach Concours de Elegance. You'll find him at numerous automotive events across the country. At least that's where I always seem to see him. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors, so give them a little love, and we'll be right back. Are you wondering what your collector car is worth these days? Are you thinking about buying a collector car? I know who can help. My friends at Classic.com will help you stay on top of the market so you know which similar vehicles are out there, what they're selling for, what you should pay, and how to price your vehicle. Go to Classic.com/garage Enter your vehicle's information, specs including the year, make, model, mileage, and options, and they will provide you with a list of recent comparable sales. Their powerful search engine is up to date, finding new listings, tracking sales, and keeping you informed, providing data so you can make the right decision. If you're selling a vehicle, they can help as well with their Classic.com Pro division, steering you to a qualified professional who will help. Finding the right vehicle and selling your vehicle is all about timing and exposure. So what are you waiting for? Go to classic.com/garage and give it a run. That's classic.com/garage and tell them Mark sent you. Years ago, when it was time to renew my collector car insurance policy, my carrier's rates went up, way up, but my usage was the same and I never made a claim. I didn't even have a ticket. So what's with that? So I turned to American Collectors Insurance. Has your collector car insurance recently raised your rates for no good reason? Tired of paying an annual membership fee? Then it's time to look around and call American Collectors Insurance. I shopped around, I asked friends for recommendations, and found a winner that I can trust. And boy, I'm glad I did. I saved hundreds of dollars every year and slept better at night knowing my baby was properly insured. American Collectors Insurance have been protecting vehicles since 1976. They provided me with an agreed value insurance policy backed by their history of taking great care of their clients. What could be better than that? So give them a call and ask for a quote today. 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. And protect the ones you love like I did with American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. All right, we are back. So let's talk about the La Jolla Concours and what's going to be happening this year. This is an event I've attended since the beginning. I kind of have to because it's homecoming for me. While I'm down there, I get to visit my mom and my sister. I always invite a few old friends that date back to college and high school to attend this event. I just love it, and especially since that park, Ellen Browning Scripps Park, where I grew up, we used to have picnics on Sundays there. And so I just was like being back home. But this is, to me, the mini Pebble Beach. And they probably don't like me saying that, or you may not saying mini, but it has that vibe about it because it's on the ocean. It's beautiful. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more for listeners that maybe haven't attended about what makes this event so special. And then we'll get into some of the cars and what you do for it.
Thanks, Mark. You know, we have great respect for Pebble Beach and everything they do. Their event is the granddaddy and always will be. We're just trying to be the best Concours that we can be in La Jolla. And so the fun thing that we have to offer that I think is one of our assets is, you know, we have a beautiful park overlooking the Pacific with San Diego weather. I don't think you can start with anything better than that.
Right.
And so those of your listeners that have never been to our Concours, what you can expect is world-class cars and a world-class experience. We try to create events that are amazing for car lovers and non-car lovers. So there's something for everybody with our event. And if you don't even want to participate and you just want to be around it and shop in the village, that works too. But we have a weekend of activities that kicks off on Friday night with the VIP reception at Ellen Browning Scripps Park, which is just a beautiful setting. And our promotional team, McFarland Promotions, creates a beautiful theme and environment for us to have a great party in. You'll find bites from San Diego restaurants. You'll find multiple hosted bars. We have live music, live auction. We have some people dancing. We have a lot of people looking at beautiful cars. And this year, the plan is to have some Duesenbergs parked on the lawn, which are the most spectacular looking automobiles I've ever seen. And so I'm excited about that. And so that kicks it off on Friday night. Saturday morning, we have the Tour de Elegance. This is a 100-car tour that will stop at 2 private collections in North San Diego County. We're going to parade through Rancho Santa Fe Cars and Coffee.
Nice.
And head over to the La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club for a forum discussion on the resto mod portion of the car hobby, and then retire to the beach and have lunch right there on the beach at the La Jolla Beach and Tennis Club. So it'll be a nice morning and beautiful cars and a fun experience. There's still tickets available for anyone that would like to participate on our website under the Tour de Elegance pull-down menu.
It's quite spectacular. And then that evening, there's a nice little fun event that's open to the public, I understand?
Yeah, it's a free event. It's called Porsches on Prospect. We hope to have 75 Porsches parked on Prospect Street. So as you head out to do some shopping and dine, you will have that eye candy. We'll have our logo broadcast on the La Valencia Hotel, which will just set the mood for the entire weekend of cars. So it's going to be a beautiful Saturday night in the village to participate, and it's a free event to the public. And so we encourage everybody to come out.
People know I kind of like Porsches, so I think I'll be there. Now, last year, the event featured Ferraris, and that street was just filled with Ferraris. It was so much fun. And I tell you, it's interesting. I went to have dinner, had a bunch of friends and family with me, and we're looking, way back when, my first date, and my wife and I have been married, this year will be 39 years. The Chart House restaurant was right there on Prospect, and my wife and I had our first date at that restaurant. And I went into this restaurant, and I was sitting there going, why does this look so familiar? Had a different name now. And I asked the waiter, I said, where's the Chart House? He goes, well, you're kind of sitting in it. And this is where the Chart House was. And all of a sudden, I realized I was sitting at the same corner window where I sat on our first date. It was like, whoa, this is kind of surreal. So, it's again, it's a homecoming for me. And then, of course, we lead into Sunday, which is the big event. So let's talk about what's happening at this year's event. And since you're so intrinsic in cars that are coming and people and so forth, kind of take us on a little walk around, a preview walk around of what we can expect to see at the La Jolla Concours this year.
Yeah, so gates open at 9 a.m. and tickets are still available at lajollaconcours.com. And our patrons, when they arrive, they're going to see a spectacular lineup of Duesenbergs. And we've got a whole host of other great cars. We've got C1 and C2 Corvettes. We've got American luxury of the 50s. We've got European cars through 1978, Ferrari, of course, and Porsche, American classics and Mercedes-Benz. And we have a motorcycle and a racing class. So there's something for everybody on the lawn. And the schedule of events for the day, when you arrive, probably see judges running around talking to car owners and inspecting cars. That takes place till about noon. There's a flyover around 11:30
that's
in
right.
the morning.
Yeah, that's very cool. The planes that fly over there are like, whoa, where did they come from? That's awesome.
That's one of the unique things that we really are proud of about our event is the flyover, and it becomes more popular with the pilots and their desire to participate each year. So that's great. And so that will take place in the morning. In the afternoon is the award ceremony, and we've got a champagne garden, and we've got hosted bars in certain areas, and we've got food available. And so it's a great way to spend your Sunday. And, we don't conflict with the Masters, so the golfers won't be upset with us. And, they can come out and spend the full day and not have to run off to the television.
To me, the vibe, the atmosphere is very relaxed, fun, enjoyable. And what I tell friends and followers here on Cars is if you have a significant other that typically isn't quite into cars and you run off to these car events and Concours events and they're like, oh, another car show. La Jolla has so much to offer, and San Diego for that matter. I mean, there's some wonderful things to do with family between the zoo, the wild animal park, the beaches, of course, are delightful. And La Jolla, being the gem that it is so great. So there's a lot for the entire family. So if you want to go down and make a week out of this and, of course, sneak away for the car shows if the rest of the family's not into it. But I think even the family, I've taken my family that some of them maybe aren't into cars that much, and they go, oh, this is really nice. They can sit and look at the ocean and the sea lions down on the beach and really enjoy it. So it has a really nice feel to it. Would you agree?
I agree. And, I would say, Coronado's a great destination. Old Town's a great destination as well. So there's a lot to do in San Diego. And certainly there's a great vibe in La Jolla Concours weekend.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You mentioned Duesenberg. I want to talk a little bit about Duesenberg because you're a fan. I'm a fan. Who couldn't be a fan of Duesenberg cars?
Amazing.
Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about a couple of the doozies that are going to be there.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So there is... all right. So we have.
How do we start?
Where do you start? And which one is the most spectacular to discuss? But our hope is that we have a lineup of 20 Duesenbergs, which, arguably would be. Last year we had 21 Bugattis. And you could argue that nowhere in the world in 2022 would you find 21 Bugattis in the same place. So this year, that's our goal as well. So as you come onto the field, the thing you're going to see is the lineup of Duesenbergs, which are big, bold, spectacular, and stunning. And it's just going to create for an amazing look on the field. And so that's kind of the excitement for our Concours this year, is to have that large lineup of Duesenbergs. But if I would pick out, the 20 grand that comes from the Nethercutt collection is a spectacular car. And the reason it's called 20 grand is back in the 30s when it was built, it was a $20,000 car when you could buy a Model T for $800.
Yeah.
So it was a substantial car. And they're interesting in that they would build the chassis and then you'd have to send it to somebody else to build the coach. And so there's many Duesenbergs that are built by different coach builders and look completely different from each other. And that's another interesting aspect of the automobile back in those days.
Yeah. If you've not seen a Duesenberg up close and been around one, and the great thing about all concours is many times the owners are standing there, you can go up and learn about the history. And when you've got a car that is that grand and came out back at a very unique time in history, especially for the United States, all the stories that you can learn about these cars, to me, are one of the most fun things about going to a concours, is talking to the owners. Sometimes the curators are there if they're coming from museums. Sometimes it's the caretakers of cars if they're coming from large collections, and you can learn an awful lot. I was going to ask you a little bit about the tour, because I was fortunate enough back, I think it was 2018, to get to ride along in an old Bentley. Our good friend, mutual friend, fellow docent, Wayne Craig, got me a back seat in that car.
Yeah, and I think he got you a smock too, right?
He did. Yeah,
Bentley boys.
We all had Bentley boys, Jack. I still got mine. Yeah, that was, we were all quite proud. It was so much fun. But can people find out where the tour is going in advance so you can go, kind of like Pebble, and you can go and watch the cars drive by? Is that an option for not participants, because everybody would love to be riding in a car like that. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of highway routes, so there's not necessarily some place that you want to view, but certainly Rancho Santa Fe Cars and Coffee would be a great place to see it all, because the cars will be parading very slowly through there, and we may even stop for a moment for various things, but it would be a great venue to take photos and take pictures, or video rather, and maybe interact a little bit and see all the cars. There's a couple of spots on PCH as we head down from Cardiff and work our way back to La Jolla that are great photo shots. Yeah, I think those are probably the best places, is the area in Rancho Santa Fe when we parade through.
Yeah, I would encourage people, if you're going to be in town, go to the heart of the city. It's very easy to find Rancho Santa Fe. It's a small community. Well, it's a huge community, but the town is a small, nice community. And get there early so you can enjoy all the other cars that are going to be there. And then as those cars roll through there, get your camera out, because it's going to be fun. Another great place would probably be by Torrey Pines State Park, that entrance there as you come out of Del Mar. You come down along the beach and then back up the hill. That would be a cool place if you could time it right, kind of figure out when the cars are going to be there. But hey, just hang out at the beach for the day. That sounds like a nice place. Nice place to be, for sure. I always talk about special vehicles in people's lives. I'm going to kind of twist this up a little bit, since you know a lot about many of the cars that are coming. If you could pick one car that that'll be at the event, just for today, we'll call your special vehicle, what would that be?
There is a 1935 Duesenberg Model JN, and it's a spectacular car, Ralston bodied. It's just classic and stunning. But the thing that's always interesting about any car is, what's the story? What's the history? And this car was owned by Bill Robinson. Do you remember who Bill Robinson is, Mark?
Why do I know that name? Bill Robinson.
That's Mr. Bojangles.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yes. Now it's all coming back together.
Yeah, that would be my ultimate ride, is if I could spend a few hours in that car with Mr. Bojangles driving, and Mr. Robinson, I should say, and tune the radio into Sammy Davis Jr. singing Mr. Bojangles, and listening to stories about his exploits. But obviously the world's greatest dancer, all the dancers refer to him as the GOAT, and what a thrill. So it's great to have that car on the lawn, and that gives you just a sense of some of the types of cars that you'll see at the La Jolla Concours.
I love it. Very, very nicely done. Now, I'm going to be a little bit of a car psychologist with you, as I do and have in the past. If you were reincarnated as a vehicle, Bob Kerner was a car. Not what you want to be, though. This is how you perceive yourself as a vehicle. So you got to kind of dig a little deeper here. What would you be and why?
I still like the answer I gave in 2018, which is a 1965 GTO, Pontiac GTO that has tri-powers. And, it's one of those cars. It was one of the first muscle cars that started to look sporty, right?
Yeah.
Before that, they weren't quite sporty looking, and they had a lot of horsepower. But fell in love with that car as a kid, and I still like that. But there's various moods that we all have, right? And sometimes I'm in the mood to just drive real fast and have my hair on fire. So the other car that I would add to that list is a 1965 Cobra, which is just a thrill to drive, but it can also bite you if you're not careful. So
Yeah, that car's bitten a lot of people. I guess that's why they named it the Cobra. Because,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it can do that. Yeah, 65 Cobra would be nice, but the GTO, speaking of goats, yeah, there's another nice one too. So, all right. Well, not much has changed since we last talked, but you're a pretty solid guy. So that makes sense for somebody that's managing people's estates and money and guiding them in the right direction. So that's good to know that you're stable for sure. Is there a great book maybe you've enjoyed in the last year or two? I mean, since you were last on the show, we had that little thing called COVID, which locked us all down. But is there a great book you might like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, there's a book that I read a number of years ago, and I keep going back to it because it's so solid. But Simon Sinek's a real dynamic speaker and great writer, and he writes books about high-performing teams and the qualities that need to be in place for the teams to function well. And so I've gone back to his book a number of times. Leaders Eat Last is what it's called, by Simon Sinek. And that's my professional recommendation. And then my current pleasure read right now, obviously, is a book on Duesenberg by Dennis Adler. And it talks about Fred and Augie and their life and in times as they, worked through their life and their career and got to the point where they created in I think I heard Jay Leno say that it's the greatest American automobile ever built. And so it's a very interesting book that I've learned a lot about the car. And of course, I want to know a lot about it because there's going to be some amazing Duesenbergs on our lawn. So
yeah, it's going to be a pretty special year. And for somebody like Jay Leno to say the greatest American car ever built, I mean, that's a big statement, but he would know.
Yeah.
I think he's got more than one Duesenberg, doesn't he? Does he have
Oh, yeah. He has more than one. And he shared that he's driven all the cars of that era. And it, in his opinion, is the best car. So, I mean, that's good enough for me. Jay knows what he's talking about.
I think he does. Yeah, for sure. So you already answered the question about the ultimate drive. You're going to be in that Duesenberg with Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Robinson.
You bet.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool deal. Well, are there any maybe parting words of wisdom or advice you might offer our listeners about attending the La Jolla Concours?
Get your tickets early, get your hotel rooms early because they'll fill up, and make your dinner reservations now because the restaurants will fill up, and come out and enjoy one or all of the events because it's going to be a spectacular weekend. Again, world-class cars and a world-class experience for all. There's something for everybody in La Jolla Village the weekend of April 21st through 23rd. And you can find all the information that you need on our website, which is lajollaconcours.com, spelled LaJollaCours.com. So we'll look forward to seeing you in La Jolla on the lawn.
As my grandfather from Texas, the few times I got to see him or talk to him, he would always say, "How things in La Jolla?" And I don't, Grandpa, that's not how you say it. He was, of course, pulling my leg every time. He lived near Amarillo, where they did pronounce the two L's, even though that's a Spanish name for, I think, yellow. Amarillo, I believe, is a term for yellow, but my Spanish friends might correct me on that one. And I want to do a shout out thank you to our friends at McFarland because they bring me so many great guests, and Laurel has just built an incredible business there, and that's because she has an incredible team around her. McKenna, who got you back on the show here today, I want to thank her as well. You'll see when you attend this event, Farland, they know how to put on an event, and these are not easy events to put together. There are so many moving parts, but you've also got great people like Bob and the other guests this week that'll be here talking about the La Jolla Concours. I hope all you listeners join Bob and I and all the team and all the fun people at the La Jolla Concours. If you're going to only pick a few events to go to this year, this is one of them, I promise you. And I think this is my first Concours of the year, too. Yeah, so I can't wait to go. Put on a shirt that I won't have to have a jacket because it's a little chilly where I live. And we'll have some fun. Well, Bob, thank you for checking in with us again. Thanks for all the things you do in the car world, because people like you that are docents and do all this work are kind of the unsung heroes that make these things happen, because the cars and the people that you know, that you put together, we wouldn't be able to enjoy these things without people like you. So I want to personally thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for having me back. It's an honor to be back as a second-time guest. Thank you.
There you go. You're a two-timer now, so in a nice way. Well, until you and I talk again, I'll see you at the La Jolla Concours de Elegance. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. Want to hear something crazy? Veterans work on billions of dollars of vehicles, planes, and engines while deployed, but they can't touch our car until they've obtained a certification and training requirements for employment back here at home. That's crazy. Dick Force Foundation Military Transition Fund provides scholarships and grants so our veterans can transition to great careers following their service for this great country. Support Tech Force, a charity of choice here at Cars Yeah, and its workforce development efforts for our veterans by donating at techforce.org today.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.